My name is Elena. I am 79 years old. I built one of the largest fashion empires in the world. AURE. 43 countries, 31 billion in annual revenue at its peak. And I need to tell you something I have never said out loud. Not once. Not to my children, not to my lawyers, not to the journalists who put my face on their covers. I never built it for me. Not one single day. And I did not understand that until I ended up here. Before you think this is about regret, stop. I do not believe in regret. Regret is for people who think they could have chosen differently. I chose exactly who I was. That is the problem. I spent 47 years building something extraordinary. AURE started in a 280 square foot apartment. Me and one other person, a sewing machine that kept breaking, and a business plan written in a notebook my mother gave me for my 24th birthday. By the time I was 40, we were in 12 countries. By 55, we were everywhere. By 72, the board I built voted me out. I have been lying in this hospital bed for 19 days now, and the strangest thing keeps happening. People come to visit. Former executives, journalists, a senator I helped get elected 22 years ago. They all ask me the same thing. How did you do it? Nobody asks why. So today, I am going to answer the question nobody asked. Because I think most of you, whether you are building a company, a career, a family, a version of yourself, are doing exactly what I did. And you do not know it yet. Let me take you back to March 14th, 1987. AURE was 3 years old. We were hemorrhaging money. I had a meeting at 11 a.m. with an investor from Frankfurt, a man named Gerhard, who had been putting us off for 6 weeks. That morning, he finally called and said he was ready. March 14th, 1987, my sister's wedding day. I remember standing in my kitchen at 6:47 in the morning. I remember the time because I looked at the clock 3 times while I was on the phone with Gerhard's assistant, confirming the meeting. My dress for the wedding was hanging on the back of my bedroom door. Ivory. My sister had picked it herself. She called me 2 weeks earlier and said, "Elena, this is the one thing I have ever asked you for." She was not wrong. I went to the meeting. I did not call her first. I called her after. From a payphone outside Gerhard's office building, I told her there was an emergency, that it was the company, that I had no choice. She did not speak for 11 seconds. I counted. Then she said, "Okay," and hung up. We did not speak for 2 years after that. 2 years. Gerhard signed. It saved AURE. I told myself it was the right decision for the rest of my life. You know what nobody tells you about those moments? They do not feel like choices. They feel like necessity, like gravity, like the only rational thing to do. But they are still choices. Every single one. After the wedding, I told myself it was a one-time thing, an exception, the price of building something real. So I kept paying it. My son Matteo had a school play. He was 8 years old. He played the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. He had been rehearsing for 6 weeks. I know because the script was on our kitchen counter for 6 weeks, and I stepped over it every morning. That week, I had a supplier crisis in Milan. I flew to Milan. He played the wolf to a half-empty auditorium. My assistant sent flowers. Here is what I did not understand then. Every time you choose the work over the person, you are not just missing a moment. You are sending a message. You are telling that person exactly where they rank. Kids hear that message clearly. They just do not tell you they heard it. My daughter Sophia, she is 48 now, she told me something last year that I have thought about every single day since. She said, "Mom, I used to make excuses for you to my friends. I used to tell them you were saving lives at your company, that you were important, that it was not personal." She paused. Then she said, "I spent 30 years convincing myself it was not personal. But here is the thing I have not told you yet. All of it, the missed wedding, the empty seat at the play, the phone calls I did not take, none of it was really about the company. That took me until I was 71 years old to understand. My father was an engineer, quiet man, brilliant, precise. He built bridges. He thought fashion was frivolous. He said that to me once. I was 19. We were eating dinner. I told him I wanted to start a clothing company. And he looked at me the way you look at a child who says they want to be an astronaut. He said, "Elena, that is not a real business." I did not argue. I just made a decision right there at that dinner table to prove him wrong. Not to him. I told myself not to him. I told myself it was for me. Stay with me here, because this is the part that is going to be uncomfortable. My father died in 2003. AURE was already in 24 countries by then. I had been on the cover of 3 international magazines. I had 4,200 employees. He never said he was wrong. He never said he was proud. At my mother's birthday dinner, he said, "You have done well, Elena." He said it the same way you would say, "The weather is nice today." You have done well. I went home that night and I worked until 3 in the morning. I did not know why. I just could not stop. You know what I was doing? I was still trying to impress a man who was never going to be impressed, who had been dead for 6 months by then. 6 months gone, and I was still building for him. I spent 47 years constructing the world's most elaborate answer to a question my father asked at a dinner table in 1967. That is not ambition. That is a wound. The board meeting was a Tuesday in September. I remember the room. Glass walls, 32nd floor. You could see the whole city from the table. I had sat in that room 300 times. They were all there. 12 people I had hired. 12 people whose careers I had built. The vote was 11-1. The one was a woman named Patricia, who I had brought in from outside 6 years earlier. She voted to keep me. Afterward, she found me in the hallway. She said, "Elena, I am sorry. I am sorry this is how it ends." And I said something I have thought about 1,000 times since. I said, "This is not how it ends. AURE is still here." She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, "Elena, that is exactly the problem." She was right. I had become the same person to AURE that my father was to me. I gave everything: presence, time, sacrifice. But I gave it like a transaction, not like love. And everyone around me, my children, my employees, my sister, felt the difference. The worst part, the last part, AURE did not need me. It kept going, kept growing. New CEO, new vision, new covers on the same magazines. Everything I sacrificed my life for did not even notice I was gone. Not for a single day. I have been in this hospital room for 19 days. I have had 31 visitors. Not one of them has asked me what I loved about this life. Not one. You know what I loved? The first sketch. Every single time. The very first sketch of a new collection. Before it became a product. Before it became a number on a spreadsheet. When it was just a line on paper and something that felt like possibility. I loved that. I felt alive for about 45 minutes every season. 47 years. Maybe 90 minutes of genuine joy. Can you see it? I did not build AURE because I loved fashion. I used fashion to build something that would make someone love me. And that is the saddest sentence I have ever said. So here is what I want you to take from this. There is nothing wrong with building something great. Nothing wrong with ambition. Nothing wrong with sacrifice. But there is a question you have to ask yourself today. Not when you get there. Today. Why? Not why does the company need this? Not why does my career need this? Not why does the plan say so? Why do you need it? For whom are you building? And if you stop tomorrow, if the whole thing disappeared overnight, would you grieve the work? Or would you grieve the time? I am 79 years old. I built one of the largest fashion empires in the world. And if I could go back to March 14th, 1987, and stand in my kitchen at 6:47 in the morning, I would put on the ivory dress. I would let Gerhardt wait. I would go dance at my sister's wedding. AURE would have survived. It always does. The people do not. How many decisions in your life did you actually make? And how many did fear make for you?